Hello everybody, what's up? It's some type of artist, and today it's Ocarina of Time. I had not planned on this on being my next Let's Play at all. I didn't even plan on this on being the first Zelda game I Let's Played. But you know, for a couple different reasons, the past couple of weeks I've kind of just really been craving to play Ocarina of Time again. So I figured, you know, even though I'm still, like, in the mood to do a bunch of shorter LPs, because, I don't know, I guess they're easier for me to do right now, I decided to take a crack and let's just go for a bigger one. I mean, it's not going to be anywhere near as big as, like, the Dot GU one. I don't think any LP I could possibly do would be as big as the Dot GU one. But yeah, I don't know, I know the Ocarina of Time randomizer has been pretty popular lately, and I guess by watching those, it's just really been putting me in a mood just to play Ocarina of Time again. And sorry, I really just love this title screen thing, and going back into the Kokiri Forest tunnel. And then getting spoiled about something so late into the rest of the game. But I just wanted to play that on the screen, just because, I don't know. I'll talk about more like this later, but... Oh, I named a file after myself. I usually name my Zelda files after Link. I don't know, I know it's been like the funny thing. There was my 3-heart run that I did, I don't even remember how long ago. It must have been like 4 or 5 years ago by this point. And then, as you can see, I usually go for 100% whenever I do an Ocarina of Time run. So I don't know, let's just get rid of whatever. I feel like when I'm usually getting rid of file 3 in whatever game I'm playing. So I'm not gonna do like anything special, it's just gonna be Link. I know a lot of people like putting something funny in there, but you know, I don't know. I'm not feeling clever enough to come up with something funny. In the vast, deep forest of Hyrule, long have I served as the guardian spirit. I am known as the Deku Tree. The children of the forest, the Kokiri, live here with me. Each Kokiri has his or her own guardian fairy. I love how, like, it's just silent at the beginning of this. This is the first video game I played that honestly felt a little more cinematic. And I guess I'll talk about that later after all the intro stuff. I don't know if I'm going to be reading everything, because that's kind of like... I don't know. I don't have, like, the voices to do stuff, and I don't really feel like, you know, making fun of characters all the time. Well, I don't know, some characters I will, but I don't know, I kind of feel weird just, like, letting the text just stand there and not, you know, saying anything, unless I'm, like, explaining something like this or whatever. Because I don't know, I heard there was, like, and I don't know if this was ever relevant or not, but I remember watching an LP of Ocarina of Time at some point, and the commenter was saying how it's kind of frowned upon for LPers to read text in games when they're doing the Let's Play. And I've never heard it mentioned by anybody else. And I haven't, like, I guess I haven't seen enough different types of Let's Players to really comment on whether that can be a thing or not. I never really, like, researched it on Reddit or anything either. But I don't know. Just me personally, if, like, a game like this doesn't have any voice acting, and there's a lot of text on the screen, or not, you know, in the game in general, it just kind of seems weird not just to, like, you know, just have the text there and just, like, not do anything. Like, maybe you can, like, you know, make a response to the text or something. You know, give your reaction to it. But I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see what other people think with that. since I play a lot of games that are like, since I listen to a lot of Let's Plays just kind of like in the background as I'm playing games or working on something else, sometimes it does help if an LPer is just kind of like reading the lines along, especially if it's like a narrative-heavy game. Because then at least I can like somewhat still like follow the Let's Play. But I don't know. Hello? The Great Deku Tree wants to talk to you. I'm a British fairy. I can't do a British accent though, so lucky for you, you'll be spared of that. And Hyrule's destiny really depends on such a lazy boy. Look at him, he doesn't even have any covers on his bed. Where'd he get a mattress to start off with, too? Look how he just, like, wakes up and just, like, pats himself on the... he just, like... I don't know, he just, like, settles into his, like, sitting pose, and it's like, oh, hi, who are you? The Great Deku Tree asked me to be your partner from now on. Nice to meet you. You want to say anything, kid? Alright, so... it's Link's beautiful house. I don't know, there's some things in this house that I always thought was kind of, like, interesting that you never really think about. Like, there's a couple of pitchforks here. I think there's, like, other tools on the side. Yeah, there's, like, some more farm tools over here. It makes me wonder, like, do the Kokiri, like, I don't know, farmer stuff out here? You know, all you do is, like, see them dick around outside, but, you know, outside of the game, you have to, like, wonder, like, how they live their life, and it's like, do they, like, farm their own food and stuff like that? Oh, and it's our best friend in the world. It's Saria. Yahoo! Hi, Link. I always thought it was so funny. I don't know. I think it's funny she just says Yahoo. What's up, Saria? Wow, a fairy. Finally, a fairy came to you, Link. It's about goddamn time. I'm so happy for you. Now you can stand up to Mido and not be made fun of for the one thing that you're known for, not having a fairy. Is that right? The Great Deku Tree has summoned you. It's quite an honor to talk to a tree. I'll wait for you here. Get going. Go see the Great Deku Tree. Tell me what the tree told you, Link. Saria. When I first got this game, I had a huge crush on Saria. I remember writing about it in, like, this notebook I had that was, like, a journal. And my sister found it, and she made fun of me, like, so hard. But if you go over and talk to Mido, Mido's, like, this bully that thinks he's in charge of all the Kokiri, and I don't really know if they respect him out of, like, honest respect, or if they just, like, tolerate his assholeness. Why would he summon you and not the great Mido? Or Mido. I guess it should be Mido. I remember, like, on an old Zelda website, I was, like, reading, like, I think it was, like, an interview with some kind of Nintendo staff that, all the Kokiri were named after, like, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do. So I guess if that was true, it's like, it should just be Mido. And there's this girl that you can't see her from, oh, well, I wanted to go into first person, but one of Navi's many charming qualities is taking away your first person perspective. You can see a fairy up there. One interesting thing I've always thought about the Kokiri is they don't appear unless you're closer to them. I always thought that was something with the Nintendo 64's, like, I don't know the proper term for it. Like, they wouldn't fade into existence unless you were closer, but the fairies are there, and the Kokiri are the only people in the game that do this, so I always kind of, like, thought the Kokiri were, like, spirits. And maybe that's why they can, like, transform into Koroks. Like, maybe this is just, like, the form they take. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting things about the Kokiri that I never really, completely understood over time, and I don't know, I always just kind of wanted to, excuse me. There's a giant boulder running around here. He doesn't want you to have the sword. Bad news, Boulder. We're taking the sword. Da 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 da! You got the Kokiri sword on the equipment subscreen. Blah blah blah. This is a hidden treasure of the Kokiri, but you can borrow it for a while. Be sure to practice with it before you really fight. Yeah, so in this game you actually have to go and equip your equipment, because you'll get different equipment in the game that you have to, like, choose between. I like how there's a sign here that says, visit the house of the Know-It-All Brothers to get answers to all your item-related questions. Yeah, a couple of the Kokiri in town went all the way in here, didn't take the sword. They just set up their dumb sign there, so... I like talking to the townspeople. Like, I played this game so many times, but I still just kind of enjoy, you know, conversating with everybody. The thing is, though, in Kokiri Forest, most of the people just, like, tell you, you know, how to play the game, so it's not, like, always interesting. I think you get some rupees if you, just mess around with this. I don't know. It's not a terribly big deal, but we do need some monies to get a shield, because as I was talking over Mito's obnoxious bullying, you need a sword and you need a shield before you can go see the Great Deku Tree. So we got our sword, we gotta get our shield. There's a few, like, rupees sitting here and there. I know if you jump across here, you'll get 5. You can keep going back in and out of this store to, oh, who's talking to me? It's you on the roof. See? That's how you Z-target. Yes, yes, that's how you use a fairy. It's so great that you finally have a fairy partner. I'll teach you how to blah blah blah. Can we skip it? Yeah. I don't know. This game is weird. It has, like, selective skipping. This is Saria's house here. You can find, like, parts inside if you need them. And on the roof, too. And there's this narrow bridge that I just messed up on. Yeah, I do go back to the Nintendo 64 fairly often. I guess, I don't know. I guess I still go to it fairly often. But it always takes me a little bit to, like, get used to the controller again. You came all the way up here? You're a real man. Look, isn't this view pretty? Change your viewpoint with Upsy so you can look around the forest with control stick. So this girl here, I think her name is supposed to be like Fado, according to that interview. She's like, most of the Kokiri are either like that short-haired girl or the, or that guy with the shaggy hair. Yeah, this guy here who's... as Luca Jin delicately put it, humping a rock. But, she's like one of the few that are like, has like a unique model. This is Mito's house, so we're just gonna take his life savings. He's not gonna do anything with it. What are these kids gonna do with any kind of money? Whoops, I don't wanna roll. Recovery heart. I didn't have damage. Well, actually I did from that boulder. And a green rupee. So I have 40 rupees exactly. Which is good, because that's how much the shield costs. Although I'm sure I'll get more. I think this girl will just say, like, oh, you have a fairy now. That's great, Link. Ha ha ha. What? You've been called by the Great Deku Tree. What an honor. He may give you a special gift. Tee-hee. That's because the Great Deku Tree is our father. Excuse me? Yeah, so I don't know. I'd love to know more about, like, Kokiri lore, because this is the only game they're in. Oh, and I think there's another rupee back here, too. No? Oh, there you go. Hey. Get a stool. And it's the Deku Shield! And, you know, the drill, you have to equip it to use it. And be sure to equip it before you go talk to Mito, because even if you have these things, he's not going to let you buy unless you actually have it equipped. There we go, we're all set up to go on an adventure. Alright, asshole. If you want to see the Great Deku Tree, you should at least equip a sword and a shield. Eh? What's that? Oh, you have a Deku shield. And what's that? Is that a 10-inch dick? Good grief! Well, even with all that stuff, a wimp is still a wimp, huh? I, the Great Mito, will never accept you as one of us. Shoot! How did you get to be the favorite of Saria, the Great Deku Tree? Huh? Grumble, grumble. Yeah, you grumble over there by yourself. And along the way, you'll fight some Deku Babas here. I'll give you Deku Sticks or Deku Nuts, depending on, you know, what they are. These ones that stand up stiff will give you Deku Sticks all the time. There's some other ones that, like, lunge at you. And you can do, like, I don't know. You can get either Deku Sticks or Nuts from them, depending on how you defeat them. I'm back! And it's a tree with a mustache. It's so beautiful. Welcome. Listen carefully to what I, the Deku Tree, am about to tell thee. Thy slumber these past moons must have been restless, full of nightmares. As the servants of evil gain strength, a vile climate pervades the land and causes nightmares to those sensitive to it. Verily, thou hast felt it. You are a 9th grade level vocabulary dude, huh? I have been cursed. But all seriousness, I do kind of, like, appreciate how, like, I don't know. I don't want to say poetic, because that's how Nintendo Capri Sun described it in his Let's Play. But, like, I don't know, Shakespearean, maybe? I like how the Deku Tree has, like, this sense of regality. But he's been cursed by God knows what, so let's go on in and take care of him. Well, we know what. We don't have to pretend. Like I said, I've played this game like 1,000 times before. I got this game when I was in 7th grade. I think it was like... It was the year 2000, I'm pretty sure. And... It was Christmas. I got this and Majora's Mask on that same Christmas. I remember, because it wasn't the first Zelda game I played. The first Zelda game I played was A Link to the Past. That was Dean, my best friend next door. He had that for Super Nintendo. We enjoyed it a lot, and we played it fairly often too, but we could never, like, I don't know. When we got to the Dark World, things just kind of became too intimidating. And we could never really get past the first dungeon. So I never really played through A Link to the Past fully until when I got my own copy. And it was the Game Boy Advance port on top of that. And I had Link's Awakening as a kid as well at some point. I forget exactly when, but I know it was before Ocarina of Time. Because I think I started getting more interested in Zelda when I got Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 64. And I guess that's when I realized this kid's name was Link the whole time. Because, like, we just had the cartridge. We didn't really know, like, what his name was. So, I guess when you, like, finally put a name to the face, and you saw how cool he was in Ocarina of Time, or Super Smash Bros., I guess, I was getting more interested in Zelda. And I think it was kind of around that same year in 7th grade when I started subscribing to Nintendo Power. And... well, I don't know, maybe that was a little later. Either way, I got this thing in the mail. It's like, I guess it was like kind of like a flyer about Majora's Mask, and I thought the art looked really cool. It was like just coming out too. So I went to the video store, I rented the game, and I absolutely kind of like fell in love with the ambience of it. I'll talk more about that whenever I do a Majora's Mask Let's Play. But I don't know. There was just something about it that really made me want to play Zelda and get into it. So that year for Christmas, I got Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. And I remember, and I always remember this whenever I play Majora's Mask. Well, no, Ocarina of Time, I should say. Because, let's see, was it... So I got it for Christmas. So when I went back to school, believe it or not, I didn't play Ocarina of Time until like a week and a half or 2 weeks after I got it for Christmas. Because I was messing around in Majora's Mask, because I was a big fan of Pokemon at the time, and I really liked the Keaton mask. And I remember when I rented it, I was like just so transfixed on Cafe and the Keaton mask. And, you know, I think I got a guide for Christmas that year too, and I was just like trying to like figure out how to get that Keaton mask as soon as I could. So I basically did a playthrough of Majora's Mask. That wasn't even the playthrough. It was just like me, and I started a file, and I was just like just doing everything I could, trying to follow the guide and learn the game as best I can, so I can get the Keaton mask. And I think after that, I decided I wanted to play Ocarina of Time first, since it was like, you know, the game that came before. And that at that point, it was like 2 weeks later. So I was in school, and we were let out early because there was like this huge snowstorm on the horizon. And I came home, and it must have been like a 3-day weekend or something because of that. And I just sat down and I started playing this game, and I just like really just was falling in love with it. It was like nothing I'd ever played before because, you know, up to that point, a lot of the games I played were, you know, definitely more kiddie, like, you know, playing Donkey Kong and Banjo-Kazooie, Mario games, you know, not like knocking them or anything, because they're all great games, but, you know, this was kind of like the first game that took itself a little more seriously. Had more of an atmosphere to it. I mean, Donkey Kong did, definitely, don't get me wrong, but I mean, I don't know if that's something I would say I appreciated as much as I should have as soon as, you know, when we were playing it as kids. This was like the first game I played and really started to appreciate, like, ambience and maturity and things like that. And it was just when I was like on the cusp of becoming a teenager too. I was like 12 years old or so, I guess. And I was already feeling myself like outgrowing some things. So all of a sudden, when I go to like, I'll go from like the goofy like music of Banjo-Kazooie to something more like this. It was just, I don't know, very captivating. And I remember being stuck in this room, believe it or not, and I didn't understand how Deku sticks really worked, and that was how I had to light this torch. I was just stuck here for like the longest time trying to figure out how to light that torch up. And just outside, I just remember the snow just like building up, and there was like this, I don't know, it was just so beautiful, just like how the world looked outside to me right then. And I had this, well, the enemy music is playing now, but like this music that's playing in the Deku Tree, it also plays in the grottos too. Whoops. No, not at all like that. But this music that just kept playing, I was just like so, I just thought it was like so beautiful. It was like, I literally, and I don't want to sound like super cringy about it, I literally felt like I was just like kind of frozen in time. Like, this was a moment that I'm gonna like remember for the rest of my life. And I don't know why, but I guess just because it's like the first kind of video game like that. And just the beautiful moment of just like, you know, getting home from school early for a 3-day weekend because it just started snowing like that. You know, and I was just into something new, and it was just like at the right time, at the right place in my life. It's just like, that's what I always think about when I start a new file in Ocarina of Time, just like that impact it had on me when I first started playing the game. But yeah, I don't know. It's the kind of story that I don't even know if it makes sense all that much. I mean, I'm sure everybody has their own, like, game like that just kind of, impacted them like that. They had probably had, like, a moment where, they felt something like that. But I guess I'm just, what my point is, Ocarina of Time was that game for me. And it's, I don't know, Ocarina of Time gets so much flack lately. Well, I don't know, I guess it's calmed down somewhat. But I remember everyone used to be in love with it, and then a lot of people on YouTube just started saying it's an overrated piece of garbage. And I still feel like at some point, that's kind of like split down the middle. Because, as I've just demonstrated by this story, I do have an extreme amount of nostalgia for both Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. But you know what? It's not like they were games that I played when I was younger and I haven't touched them in years. I do go back to Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Usually one of them, or both, at least once a year. And I think that's saying something. Like, if it's such a bad game, I can't possibly be coming back to it every year just to uphold, like, some sort of tradition. Like, there's always, like, this kind of desire for me to play the game, you know? And I think that I have the ability to play the game just fine each time kind of goes some way towards saying that it still holds up, that it's, you know, not just a piece of Nintendo 64 trash that nostalgia whores have just kind of put on this pedestal. You know, I'll you know, agree. If you didn't grow up with Ocarina of Time, there are probably other Zelda games that would kind of, like, be better in your eyes. Ocarina of Time is kind of what I, like, consider a classic Zelda game. Like A Link to the Past or the original NES Zelda, where... Because a lot of Zelda games have, like, little gimmicks to them. Like, Majora's Mask has the 3-day cycle. Wind Waker has the sailing in the ocean. Twilight Princess has the wolf transformation. You know, there's always, like, something about a Zelda game that, like, sets it apart from other ones. With Ocarina of Time and the other two that I mentioned, though, it really is just kind of, like... There's nothing particular about it that, like, sets it apart from other Zelda games, I guess. But at the same time, I don't know. They are just so legendary in their own right. And I guess that's just because it is, like, the most pure form of Zelda, in which, like, the series is known for. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like if you're not into Ocarina of Time and you're, like, looking at it for the first time after playing other Zelda games, it might feel like it's lacking something. But regardless of that, though, I still think it's a fantastic game, and it's definitely one of my favorite Zelda games. It used to be, like, my top favorite, along with Majora's Mask, but I think Majora's Mask kind of just became my favorite over time, and I'll explain more why later on, whenever I do a Majora's Mask LP again. But, yeah, I know this episode's going, like, kind of longer than I usually like, but it is kind of, it's the first episode, and it is a longer game, so I may be a little more, like, lenient with how my times go. I kind of want to, like, I don't know, we're so close to the end of the dungeon, I'm almost kind of wondering, should we just finish it? But then I just remembered, my capture card usually starts, like, screwing up if it goes for too long. So we're going to call it here for now, and in the next episode, we're going to finish up the Deku Tree and start our adventure proper. So thanks everyone for joining me for this very first part. Thank you for sitting with me as I kind of relived some personal memories, but like I said, Ocarina of Time was a very big game for me growing up, and we'll talk more about that too as well, and hopefully kind of shed some light about at least why I personally love the game so much and why it had such an influence on me. But anyway, thanks for watching everybody. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.